Hello, hello. Oh, am I live now? Dang, I am. Ah, yeah, I can see myself on my own phone. And I can see my own lag and delay. Yo, what's up everybody? Wow. Thank you for joining me tonight, I guess, on this stream. Yo, this is... Hello, Justin. I'm like, where do I look? I can look here and see the chat, and I can look here and see the chat, but that's okay. Yeah, it's like, wow, I have not felt so nervous in a long time. Even though, like, I probably shouldn't, cause you know, it's like, well, how do I say? I've had 1 week to put together this program since I literally decided that I was gonna do this on Saturday evening, like at night, when I was on stream with y'all talking about like, you know, what y'all are doing wrong, I guess. But yeah, now a week later, I have resurrected 6 pieces that I've not played in months. And it was quite a grind this week on top of school. So hopefully it's not too bad. I know I feel like I'm just setting myself up with excuses right now, but you know, we'll give it a few more minutes just so that people can come in. Probably start around 9:35 EST. I'm in East Coast, so. But yeah, what's poppin', guys? What's good? Did y'all go to Animen's stream this morning? I like woke up at 7, stayed up for it, watched the whole thing, and then fell back asleep. And it made me much more nervous for this one because I'm nowhere near as professional. Yeah, but wow, 14 viewers. That's hype. Well, Elijah Rain, you saw a part of it. Yeah, it was really good. It was really good. For anyone who didn't go, you should go and watch the VODs because Animens is the GOAT in every sense of the word. Yeah. I feel like I'm kind of awkward, like looking off to the side like this, but I can't do anything else. Yo, does this... You guys let me know if the piano sounds okay? If I play some scales. Everything sound good? Sound Gucci? Response from the chat is a bit slow. That's okay. It's okay. Oh, stop it, Justin. It's just a scale. All right, cool. I'm gonna pause my background music so that I can sit in nervousness for another 2 minutes. You know, it's really weird because like I think this goes to show, you know, performing is a muscle that you have to practice, and I haven't performed in years, right? Like in the past, it's not that I wasn't nervous, but I've done recitals, right? Like hour-and-a-half long recitals before. You know, like I've done like one like 45-minute recital, 2 like hour and 15-minute long recitals, and like another hour-long recital, right? 4 recitals in my high school career, and it was like I am. Thanks, Brahma. Thanks for skipping your own practice. For skipping this game. No, that's okay. But like, you know, this feels like something else. This feels like something else because I haven't played for an audience in so long, and it's also. I remember you when you're famous. I remember all of you when I'm famous, because this is like the first audience, right? Like I didn't expect to be able to play for people like again like this, right? Even was it 16 people? Like dang, playing for 16 people, like that's a small concert, right? Like a small house concert, which is over like at right now. So I don't know. There's just something special. 3:33 a.m. Dang, Vanessa, you're really balling out. Thanks for staying up. Hopefully I don't keep you up for too much longer. Since this is only going to be like, I think half an hour if I don't screw up too bad. So, yeah. It's almost 9:34. It's 9:34 for me. Hello, Sydney. But like quick note, if y'all want to support the channel, right? Got merch now. There's links in the description. you want to get like reviews, there's a link in the description for that. You can tip me in the description, whatever. But like generally, I won't be if you buy something or if you like donate or whatever. I'm not expecting you to it's like, yeah, if you do so, I probably won't be able to read your message until after I'm done playing, because last time I streamed with the phone in front of me, it was really distracting, and I don't intend to do that this time. So, do I sub crypto? I sub crypto if the link down below works for crypto. So I don't think so. Of course you would, John. Of course you would. But yeah, you'll buy merch when you can hear the piano. Okay. But anyways, whew, it's 9:35 for me. We're going to begin. This was a classic. Yeah, real quick. Again, I feel very nervous and underprepared. Right. I do accept GameStop stock. I would prefer silver right now, actually. But you know, I feel very nervous. I feel very tense. A lot of the stuff that I feel like I practiced this week is not up to snuff. Like I'm still thinking too much about certain things, and it's not as clean as I want them to be. So if I mess up, I stop, brain fart, whatever, it's okay. We'll just pick up, and I'll try to have a lot of fun. This is kind of weird. You guys get to see my face from a different angle than in all my videos, so you get to see all the weird faces that I make. So anyways, that being said, I'm going to mute this mic, and we'll get started with the first one. This one, I'm sure most of you will know this. I'm sure most of you will know this. Whatchamacallit. Thanks, Cassidy. Yeah, know this song. So, oh, Stream Elements bot really helping out with that merch link. But anyways, you. Let's go. Let's go. That's the first one. That's the first one. Dang. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, friends. Kirito made an order of 3 items for $30. Thank you. Thank you, Kirito. Sean, thanks for stopping by. And yeah, dude. Wow. I'm slightly shaking. That was a Fonzie's arrangement, by the way. That was not my arrangement, but yeah, it was the first anime cover that I played on this channel, and it is also my most viewed cover since people know what Sword Art Online is and what Crossing Field is, and it's, you know, super fun. But like, yeah, I don't know. Every time I play, I just feel like I'm about to start a journey, it's like something epic's about to happen, right? Like da 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 da. Anyways, okay. Second piece that we're gonna play. I'm gonna play this one. This one's classical. It's a Chopin Etude, and just by saying that, there's a high margin for error. So we'll see how this one goes. This one's Ocean Etude, and my this is either going to be really dope or the worst idea possible, because I might play too fast and then destroy the rest of my stamina. So here we go. Dang. that was. It's seen better days, but that's okay. That was. Woo. Now I'm all tired, man. Oh, you always got annoyed because it's practically an exercise. Yeah. So one of the things that I love about Ocean Etude is that there's, like, at first when I first started Winter, it was much like you said, right? It's just like, oh wow, I'm playing these arpeggios up and down. But then once I really started paying attention to like where the melody goes, like the bottom note, boom, 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 right? Then it became very, very interesting, and like, you know. So, hello Emily, thank you. But yeah, thank you all. Thank you for, you know, the support. But now I'm tired, right? So it's a good thing that I planned for this. I planned for this. So the next piece that I'm playing, actually I'm going to use sheets, right? Because I didn't have time to memorize it like I wanted to. But this is the first unreleased thing that I'm playing here that's going to come out soon. But yeah, you had to check out some of my other classical performances. Yeah, please do, Sam. Sorry, I said Sam. Sean, please do. I'm I'm classically my background is classical, but you know, all music's great. All music's great. But yeah, so this one's going to be slow and hopefully a bit of reprieve for me. And also it's an anime OST, so we can all guess, I suppose, kind of like what we were doing this morning or earlier today with animens. But anyways, this one's pretty obvious though. All right. Wow, that was Watashi no Uso from Your Lie in April. Dichter? No, this is I transcribed this one myself. Oh, thanks, Vanessa. Yeah, this one I transcribed myself. It's basically the piano version, almost like note for note. So maybe it's a bit cheating, but yeah, you would have ghosted half the notes. It's all good. Matt B, thanks for the merch purchase. Really appreciate it, dude. Um, but yeah, like I just love that OST so much. Like I can every time I play it, every time I hear it, I can literally see the scene in my head, and like it's the melancholic wind, right? That just like blows during the spring, like after like that loss, right? Or a feeling of like loneliness, right? There's like the da da dum ba da 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 dum bum bum. Something about it. Something about it. You can almost feel the breeze. I don't know. I can when I play it. I can see the cherry blossoms going too. Anyways, yeah, Keanu. Your cover is pretty good too. Your cover is pretty good too. Y'all should check out Keanu's cover. By the way, Keanu is updating my stream, so if you see the program thing down in the, I don't know which way to point. This way? Yeah, down there. Keanu's doing that, so shout out to my boy. Thanks, dude. Really appreciate it. Oh, thank you, Sydney. Thank you, Sydney. But anyways, now I need a sip of water because the next one is like, I don't want to say redemption, but like, all right, here we go. Y'all know how disappointed I was with Pathetique, and so I'm going to attempt it again live. Yeah, but the problem is like a few yeah, water, dude. It's been a few weeks since I played it, and other things took precedence, right? Since every like other things were several months old and like not in my memory anymore. So this might not be that much better, but yeah, we'll see. Also, it's been a hot sec since I played a Beethoven sonata like this, like since I was a senior in high school. So yeah, it's not the whole sonata. It's just you know. Anyways, here we go. Here we go. That was nerve-wracking. Purchase a meet and greet? Sure. Only man that can stand a chance against Animens? I don't think so. I think Animens is in a league all on his own. Oh man. Wow, there's a lot of chats that I gotta catch up on. Dang. Wow. All right, let me skim this real quick while I give my little debrief. Oh, I like one of the things that I've thought about, right, with like performing whatchamacallit, like a recital almost, like a concert almost, is that maybe it's like at different points, like it's inevitable, right? It's inevitable that at different points your focus comes in and out, and you're like no longer as like involved in the music as you want to be, right? So like for me, always the first piece or first song, whatever, always has to be something that I'm super comfortable with because I'm getting over nerves, which is why I started with Crossing Field, right? And like I kid you not, literally all the recitals that I played in high school, I started with the prelude to Bach's English Suite number 2, like whatever. And that is because I just got so comfortable, right, over 4 years playing it. And so that gets you into the mindset. But then at some point throughout the recital, you start to lose some focus, right? And it's like slowly, you're not thinking about the music anymore, and you're just thinking about the notes, right? Which is not a great place to be. So I found myself in Pathetique, that right there, trying to play to get through rather than trying to play to make music, which is why I have my eyes closed most of the time, because it helps with that, right, for me. But anyways, thank you, Suzanne. Oh, and thank you all for the compliments, man. I really appreciate it. Yeah, it's yeah, most comfortable with the Mozart K540. Yeah. You always start off with like something you're comfortable with, or like, you know, make sure that you're super, well, you ought to be comfortable with everything. But anyways, yeah, big ups to Suzanne real quick, because Suzanne's my teacher. Like high key. Why secretly Kosei? I don't think so. I can't play La Campagnala. Kosei could probably play that like full speed, as it were. So, anyways, whew, I'm like talking to relieve my tension. So I gotta take another sip. That's the one nice thing about, you know, doing this. I get to talk in between stuff, and that helps me feel more relieved. Although my teacher will always be like, stop talking and focus more and thinking and like stuff like that. And I'd be like, I want to talk. But I think both work. Water. Yeah, we can. So, if y'all want to stick around after I'm done, right? I can talk about, you know, stuff that, like the thought processes behind everything. Because, you know, as I hope you guys now know from my streams, I do a lot of thinking before I play one of these things. So yeah, but anyways, next piece is so that's the last classical, right? Last classical thing that I'm playing tonight. But that makes sense, right? Pathetique's like 9 minutes long. And so, yo, what's up, Double Flat? I know Tyler Moore. But anyways, how do I practice my dynamics? We'll get to that afterwards. Right now we got 3 more to go, or about 3 more pieces to go, 3 more songs to go. First one is another OST. This is the first one on my channel that I released that was written by me, right? So we all know which one this is. This is Next to You from Parasite. I memorized it for this, or at least I hope I memorized it for this. So we'll see how it shakes out. If it shakes out poorly and I need to grab the sheets, then we'll grab the sheets. But hopefully it doesn't come to that. So we'll see. We'll see, Winter. But anyways, here we go. Ooh. Oof. Oof. And disaster finally struck. That's okay. That's okay. Thanks, Vanessa. Thanks, Vanessa. Ooh, yeah. Anyways, I haven't even seen this anime. What do you mean, Tommy? Um, but wow, I gotta like scroll up again. Dang. Uh, yeah, you finished watching Parasite? Yeah. But okay, while I quickly skim and read through, man, like I think like okay, so right there I messed up in a spot that I didn't expect to mess up in. But it's like always after I mess up, like the mentality is immediately becomes right. Like the gut reaction is, oh shoot, I messed up. What am I doing? I gotta play right. I gotta play the right notes. But what I always try to do instead is like, um, I when I mess up and my gut instinct is shoot, we gotta recover and play the right notes. It's I always try to think, wow, there's really no pressure to play perfect anymore, right? There's no pressure to play perfect anymore, and now I can take the risks that I want to. Now I can play as expressively as I want to, right? I can because nobody cares anymore. Y'all heard me stumble, right, real bad, and what now I gotta make up for it by just being more expressive, right? And so that's how I try to think about it. Although I did mess up at the end, which was surprising because the end felt a lot better, right, than it had in a long time. Yeah, the gut reaction is to replay it over, but you can't. You always gotta go forward. But wow, yeah, I'm this arrangement. Like as I was playing it again this week. This is speaking to Vanessa's point about like Ishtar's arrangement as well. I was playing it through and I was doing the arpeggios at the end. I'm like, wow, this is such an Ishtar thing to do, you know? It's like every time I listen to one of Ishtar's arrangements, it's like, dang, this man's always, does like all these like arpeggios and they sound like really, really good. Thanks, Cassidy, for that, for buying merch. Really appreciate it. Yeah. But anyways, sweaty hands. But now I get to decompress. That's the nice thing about being able to talk. And also my arms are getting a little bit tired, which is unexpected. But all right. So we got two more. So to answer Winter's question, tonight we are not getting full speed Cruel Angel's Thesis. But what we are getting is all good, Vanessa. Have a good night. You can catch the rest of this. The VOD's gonna be up, so I don't know if you want to go listen to it, but that's fine. Thanks for sticking around. I really appreciate it. The international support means a lot to me. But yeah, we're not getting the full version, full length, Cruel Angel's Thesis, but we're getting the TV size one. and the whatchamacallit, the memory on this one is a little bit shaky too, because I literally memorized it this week. So yeah, but we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it shakes out. Caleb Mary is dope? What? Thomas Kumpf is saying things that I don't understand, but that's okay. Here you go. That was aight. Yeah, Sonudo. Yeah. Anime's version? Of course Anime's version. Our national anthem is being played. Yeah, dude. Vanessa left and stuff like that. All right. Yeah, no problem, Vanessa. When you watch the VOD, no problem. I enjoy playing for y'all. But yeah, oh my gosh. This song is such a bop, man. I love it so much. I play a lot softer than Animens. Yeah, okay, so one of the things that I notice about Animens, not that I think he's doing it wrong. Yeah, okay, so what I think about Animens and Animens playing in general is that he tends to he errs onto the side of playing heavier and a little bit more chunky, right? Like I think he wants to go for like a more blocky texture in his playing with some of the stuff, right? This is like very general that I'm saying. It's not like, oh, Animens doesn't phrase well. No, he's phrasing with a chunkier texture, with a blockier texture, whereas I prefer a more like smooth, right? Like more smooth, for lack of a better definition. Like this morning, if you went and saw his stream, one of the things that stuck out to me about his Cruel Angel's Thesis when he played this morning was how much pedal he used. He used a lot of pedal. Like for example, like. All that was like pedalized, right? And personally, I'm not critiquing Animens. I'm just saying that what I do different from Animens, right? This is what I do different because I hear it different, and it's not. I don't disagree with what he's doing. It's just like when I approach the score, I'm like, I just don't hear myself playing that, right? It's not me. Am I a light pedal guy? Perhaps. Critiques Animens. I've chosen death. That is true. I should not critique Animens. I'm pointing out what he does well and what he does way better than me, right? He's able to maintain a lot more clarity through his pedaling than I do. I hold down the pedal and everything becomes a mush, which is why, but partially why. But I like it staccato and feeling that way. So anyways, I'm only talking a lot because I need some rest for this last one. This last one's also not released, but it's not new for anyone who's been around. You know, so yeah, here we go. Hope you guys enjoyed this last one, and I hope my arms don't fall off. Oh baby, dang. I am. I just love playing this game. In Pathetique, if you notice me smiling when I messed up, that's because I'm like, shoot, here we go again. But when I smile in like this game, that's the if you've seen the anime, that's like when Izuna smiles, right? When Izuna smiles when she's having fun, right? And then like it's like, oh, why are you smiling when you're messing up? But that's okay. I always have a lot of fun when I'm playing this game. It's just like, you know, vibing. But yeah, dang, whoo. I'm like, that was the first time I played the whole program through, by the way, and in tempo. Like I played through slowly, right, just to work out the kinks. But I didn't know if I would have enough stamina to play like that. It was a few notches slow. I'll give it that, but that's okay. That's okay. Whew. Man, now I'm really feeling it. Dang, my arms are tired now. Oh man, play Glassy Sky. I can't play Glassy Sky. We're not taking requests today, Thomas. I'm going through the chat real quick. Yeah, and I haven't seen Tokyo Ghoul either, so I only know what it sounds like off of piano covers. Let's go. Yeah. You can. So here's the thing with digital piano, right? This is to double flat or Tyler. The digital piano, I think you can achieve. I'm saying this after I spent like several months, right, like playing exclusively on a digital piano. Like if you listen to my Moonlight Sonata, I learned Moonlight Sonata on a digital piano, right? The digital piano that I stream on every week. And the thing with digital piano is that you have to be careful, right? If you don't bottom out the keys, and I say bottom out the keys a lot, and then you don't develop the tactile feel that's needed to play as cleanly as you need to, or that you want to. And on a digital piano, because the keys are also so light, it's easy to go a lot faster than you're supposed to. So you need to control yourself in that regard. So practice a lot with metronome and bottom out the keys, especially when you're trying to get the technical things in, and you'll be able to achieve a lot, like really, really clean playing on a digital piano. I guarantee you. I'm so cool. Thanks, Thomas. I feel really happy when I play this game. It's a we'll see when it comes out. We'll see when it comes out. 5 animants arrangements in 1 week, dude. These are I didn't learn 5 in 1 week. I just resurrected them. There's a difference, right? Like I had them memorized before. I've recorded all of these. I just haven't put them out yet. But yeah, dynamic change. I don't know which dynamic change you're talking about because I don't know when that text came through. Chat came through. Yeah, the Sonuto pedal. So the thing about the Sonuto pedal, wow, I feel like I should close out the stream first before I bore everyone with technical speech. But yeah, real quick, just about the Sonuto pedal. The way I've always thought about it is that it's a texture, right? It's a texture and not a crutch. I always use the Sonuto when I want that change in color, right? And I can't achieve it just simply by the way that I'm playing. I don't use the Sonuto if I need, like, when I want to play quieter and I just can't do it. Well, I'll use it when I can't do it, but I try if I need it to be quieter, I try everything that I possibly can to get it quieter before I do that. So anyways, oh dang, I'm like still like sweating and like nervous even though it's technically over. I don't have an encore, so oh, the one before the end of the arpeggios. Yeah. So I don't think I recorded it like that, but I think I did a subito forte. But yeah, I like the color change there, and then like the build, like yeah. Anyways, wow. Oh, I need to take another sip. Man, how long have I been going for? I played for like 45 minutes. I didn't realize this program was that long. I thought it was only 30 minutes. It's all the more impressive. I feel like I did pretty well. Like, not bad. Oh, thanks for all the love, guys. Thanks for all the love. I appreciate it. Yeah, I feel like I did pretty well, except for next to you. That was a bit of a bummer, but that's okay. The ultimate workout, the Ling Ling workout, right? Right, Suzanne? I hope Ling Ling would be proud of me. He'll probably be like, go practice another 40 hours. But yeah. Wow, I feel it's weird. Again, right? Like, swap hands now. Well, it's weird feeling like I knowing that I have 100 subs, right? And it's an even stranger feeling to know that there's like a small room full of people who are listening to me play, right? Because I don't know. It's just something that I never expected to have again. It's something that, yeah, I don't know. It it feels good. Yeah, it's true. It feels good. 100 subs feels good, but 20 people listening to me play feels much better. Cause yeah, y'all are the ones who showed up, you know? I'll get 1,000 soon enough. I hope so. But yeah. Anyways. I think that's all that I have for you guys. I mean, we can meme a little bit. I suppose, right? Like Animens did this morning when he played Jorno's team. I was in bed under the covers and losing my mind, you know. But that's okay. But anyways, thank you guys so much for coming. I really appreciate it. I really appreciate y'all buying merch too, because I mean, it vindicates my logo designs, right? It makes me feel better about myself too. No, I'm kidding. But yeah. When Animens described JoJo, yeah, I was like, dude, Animens is getting into meme culture now too. But anyways, I'm gonna be sticking around, I guess, for another like 15 minutes to half an hour or so, if you guys are still gonna be on. It's like an elite secret society, yeah, perhaps. Yeah, again, thanks Keanu for managing my stream, and helping with like updating the stuff. And when I say Suzanne's my teacher, like I mean Suzanne's my teacher, right? Like perhaps she doesn't teach me technique, right? But like she listens to everything that I play essentially that comes out on YouTube and make sure that I'm interpreting correctly and we talk through a lot of things, right? So two heads are better than one. It's nice having a teacher. So anyways, thanks Suzanne for that. Thank you all for the support and for, subbing and listening to my stuff and giving me an audience and a chance to speak again, right, with this voice. Yeah, Suzanne, you can teach all of us. It's time. But yeah. Anyways. Whew. Yeah, I can start talking about technical stuff now. If y'all want. Wow, 21 people. Dang. Yeah. Suzanne, it's time to start your music school. I'll advertise for you. How do I practice dynamics? That's a good question. So I think, okay. So to answer, okay, how do I say dynamic control with different hands? Let's see. Let me think of something good to use as an example. Well, okay. First and foremost, when I start off with reading a piece, I'm already thinking about where I want to layer the things, right? Like where I want everything to like kind of fall. How do I read my new pieces? Okay, let me talk about dynamics first, Adrian, and then I'll get on to sight reading. Sight reading for me is pretty straightforward. I just read it, but I can demonstrate because I have some new music here that I haven't played through yet. Where did I get my water bottle? My freaking jet engine, like airplane fuel tank, right? No, it's so my father likes to resell stuff on eBay, and he bought a whole bunch of these thinking that he was going to sell them, I guess, but they're still in his office. So I was like, give me one of them so that I can just sit in my room all day and not have to come down for constantly to refill my water bottle. So yeah, that's what happened. That's where I got it. So I don't know to answer the question. Teddy, thanks for showing up, dude. Yeah, honestly, Tyler, Suzanne's got a great ear, and even like I don't know, she's got really good ideas, right? Like, anyways, but dynamics. So first, sit down, work on the piece, right, and listen through. Essentially, even as I'm just reading the piece here, let me move the mic slightly. This might rattle a bit. Gosh, like honestly, it's like providential that I met Suzanne, right? Because we both from the same area, we both go to the same school, and like I kid you not, we showed up to like some accepted students day thing. Somehow ended up talking to the same group of people. I'm like friends with none of those people now except for Suzanne. So let me find a nice piece. Oh, let me pull up Evangelion, because I think that one has some good stuff that I could perhaps use, or maybe not. Maybe I can't find it. If I can't find it, then that's a problem. That's next to you. Oh, there we go. Cruel Angel's Thesis. It was Destiny. Yeah, exactly. Different servers. All right, here we go. So, essentially, the first step to working on dynamics for me is, well, one, obviously the markings, right? Here, let me move the mic a bit more so that it's like in front of my mouth. Let me know if you can't hear me, or that or if the balance is like really off. Ooh. Sorry about this, guys. It's probably popping because this is how mics be when they're being moved like this. Yeah. Oops. All right. So first off, when we're reading, we look at the dynamics. Am I clipping? No, I'm not clipping. Okay. Okay. This is pianissimo. So, okay. Let's start off actually first. Remember last time when we were talking about here, let me use my phone now so that I can just look up here. Sorry, guys. All right. So, remember, Tyler, last time I was talking about playing with direction, and you asked the question, can I hypothetically play with direction throughout the whole piece, right? And I said, no, I'm thinking about like smaller like cadences, sentences, phrases, and stuff like that. But as I was thinking about it more, I'm like, no, actually, I should have said yes, but specify that I was talking about cadences and smaller stuff like that, right? So on the first read through of the piece, I'm subdividing into my head where do I want certain things and what dynamic, what are the touches that I'm looking for, and where do I want certain dynamic ranges to end up at. And I think my camera battery is going to die very quickly, so let me swap that out real quick. Give me a sec, guys. Sorry about this. All right, and we're back. All right. So as I'm reading through, right, so let's take the first few sections as an example. I know that I have right. That's my first section. Second section that I see is and then I see and then yeah. So subdivide first, right? This is what I'm doing in my head, right? Because crescendos and decrescendos, tempo pushes, tempo pulls, right? All these things are going somewhere. And this is partially what I guess what I mean with direction as well. You don't just get louder and louder and louder and louder like perpetually. You're getting louder to a certain point. You don't get softer and softer and softer perpetually. You're getting softer to a certain point. You're not speeding up perpetually. You're speeding up to a certain tempo, etc., etc. So I have these sections set up so that I know what the general dynamic is, right? Again, talking about that dynamic range and what the range that I want to operate in is, right? For something like an anime sheet, perhaps, or like something that I write or what someone else writes, right? Like a arrangement. I'm more willing to take dynamic ranges that aren't specified by the sheets, right? So for example, here Animens here, or I guess ZZZ transcribed this and wrote pianissimo here, and then mezzo piano. So theoretically, this should be at the same dynamic as the opening, which is also marked as mezzo piano. But since this is not Beethoven, I take more liberty with that. And I want to take the opening as a pianissimo instead, which is why I used the sonato pedal as well. So first, subdivide. Second, figure out, right, like this is what I talk about every week now, I guess. Figure out where the melody is, right? So, for example, like, okay, so the melody there's no real one note that sticks out too much, or no. There's a note that sticks out, but it's not sustained, right? So it's not like it's sustained by the pedal, yes, but it's not sustained in the score, and it's not sustained in the way that you play it. So in that case, I'm like, okay, how much do I want to accentuate that so that it rings out, and how much do I want to pull it back so that it's like with everything else? And then from there, I decide how loud the arrangement should be, right? Up to this point, I've not told you how I practice this. I've just told you how I figure this out. But I think figuring it out is honestly like 80% of the challenge, right? Because once you figure out what you want to go for, then you know what to listen for when you're practicing, right? If I don't know what my mezzo forte wants to be in comparison to everything else, then all my practice on voicing and all my practice playing mezzo forte does me no good, because it doesn't connect to the next section, right? It's not going to the next section. It has to travel. So I think 80% of the work, or 75% of the work, if I should be less generous, is figuring out the ideas for what you want to do, and then the rest of it is literally just listening, playing at a slow tempo, right? So you have to work this up from a slow tempo, I think, because starting slow. Week 3 of asking to play Love Sorrow. Sorry, dude. Okay. So in order to prep this program, I had to drop everything else, right? So Love Sorrow is set back even more. So I'll play Love Sorrow next time in front of the piano. Unfortunately, Aaron, dude, I'm super sorry about that, but also can't be helped. I can play the opening, right? Like. I forget. So hopefully that was your appetite, Aaron. If you excuse me for not granting your request for the 3rd week in a row, and probably not for the next month or so. But anyways, how long does it take me to learn a piece? We're talking strict notes. Like, for example, this game took like 3 to 4 weeks to get it into like that sort of tempo. Like, I got it up to like 140 pretty consistently. Animens plays it at 147, and I think I recorded it at like a 145. But tempo markings aren't the end all be all, right? As I say many times, it's not the tempo that matters, it's the energy that matters. And if you're going to play slower, you just have to make up for it somewhere else, right? You still have to convey that sense of energy. But to really complete the learning process, I think this game definitely took 2 months, right? Over 2 months. Because like I can play the notes well, right? I can you can always play the notes, but has it sunk into the fingers yet? To the point where when I'm playing, I don't need to think about the notes. To the point where I only think about the melody and what notes I'm playing to, what this overall section's vibe I'm going for is, and can I play in such a way that I can essentially listen to what I'm doing and enjoy and like what I'm playing without having to focus on what I'm playing, So if you watch my reflection video, right, this is sort of what I'm talking about right now. Like, the 85 completion, right? 85% completion is like, I've got the note. 75% completion, I got the notes. 85% is like, now I can start to listen to myself. 95 is like, I can begin to lose myself even in just practice with, just how things are. So, yeah. So this is like, I finished this game in December. Like, I recorded in December. I haven't practiced it since, and I picked it back up this week. So, yeah, thanks, Fruit. I didn't see you earlier, so I'm just gonna assume that you've been lurking. But thanks, dude. Anyways, what was I talking about? Was I talking about dynamics or something? Post weekly songs. Do you think it's possible to post weekly songs and absorb the song? I think I feel like that's a tough question, right, for me to answer. I don't, because if I say no, then I feel like I'm like casting an opinion against like half the anime piano community that does like weekly uploads or like even daily uploads with some of them, right? And bro, how do you make your intro sound like that? Sometimes I rush it and can't crescendo the way that you do. Okay, let me answer. Let me finish this statement to Tyler first, Aaron, and then we'll talk about that. But gosh, I'm like tiny streamer right now, like 13 viewers. You know, pretty decent. I already cannot manage my stream or read the chat fast enough and respond to chat things fast enough. But anyways, what was I saying? Yeah, so I think that you can learn a piece, you can learn a song in a week, right? I can't, right? Personally, I can't, and for a multitude of reasons. Perhaps some of them are mental, perhaps some of them are not. Yeah, I was talking about dynamic control and technicality and stuff like that. Yeah. Okay, so look, Tyler, you're getting me started on too many things. You're too active in my chat, dude. I don't know what I should be talking about at any moment. This is like literally what happens every week with you. But anyways, let me finish my thoughts on learning a piece in 1 week. I think you can do it, but when you record that, it will sound good, right? I think most people who record in the Ishtar literally put out Door like 2 days after it was done, after like the episode like aired, right? And was it Jasper Teo? I don't know if he's in the chat, but he literally posts like the day of when an episode comes out, right? And it's not bad. It's not bad. In fact, I quite enjoy listening to their stuff, even when it's the day of. But I'm going to what I would say is that if you're given more time beyond that, right? I understand the seasonal anime grind, right? You want to grow your channel, and that's how you gotta do it. That's one of the ways to do it, I should say. The other is play Animens Unravel, and you get thousands and thousands of views. At Fruit, no, I'm kidding. Just play a whole bunch of Animens arrangements or the hard ones that people know. Don't be like me. Don't play like Connect from Madoka Magica. Nobody knows Madoka Magica anymore. But yeah, so it'll be good, right? It'll be fine. But I think if you gave something like that, like another 2 weeks, right, even, or like a month, 2 months, and you came back to it, it would sound maybe not completely different, but it'll sound more mature, right? And it's hard to quantify what more mature means, or what more mature would like, or what more mature means in every situation. But after it sinks into the fingers a little bit more, and you can think less about the notes, and I understand, right? A lot of this is my own fallacy too, right? Yeah, Animens can also right. Like I think there's a once you have developed a toolbox, right? And this is now getting like really high level, right? Talking about this. Once you have the toolbox of all the things that you want to do in order to make something sound good, right? You can learn a lot faster because you can quickly apply those tools to the situation. You don't need to sit down and try it out until you get it, right? But there's also an aspect of like there's a reason why. What's a good example, right? You can go and listen to Vladimir Horowitz, right? For example, talking about like Chopin interpretation. You can go and listen to Horowitz, listen to some of his early interpretations of like the ballades or whatever, and listen to some of the later ones, right? It changes. It changes and it becomes more mature. There's something different about it. Is his technical ability different as he gets old? Probably, yeah. When he gets really old, right? Like his technical ability like slows down as any normal human beings does, but the way that he phrases the dynamics, the everything, perhaps maybe you do like it faster. Maybe you do like the earlier one, right? But you can't deny that there's something that maybe is a little bit profound about the way that the dynamics and the tempo pulls and all these things change as it sinks more and more into your head as you come back to it time and time again, and as the piece ages with you, right? And so all that to say, if you improv something and you record it, dude, you're a beast, right? Incredible. But if you improv it and then you write it down and you practice it for weeks and weeks and then like months, and then you come back to it after a year, I guarantee you, I won't guarantee you. I'll give you 99% certainty, because I'm not that confident in myself. 99% certainty. You come back to it and it will be different in a very profound way. Yeah, more practice, more developed. I would say that in most circumstances, most circumstances. In my experience, and in my experience listening to others, right? So this is a subjective take. But also remember, right, for someone like Animens who's been to conservatory, right, like we joke about 40 hours a day. He actually put in the 40 hours a day, right, to practice. Like the man, of course, that man learns things quickly. Of course, that man learns like picks things up really quickly, right? I improv almost all my vids actually, dude. That's big ups for you, dude. Yusen, you know, improv is incredible, and I wish I could do it. I'm in the process of improving my ear training right now, right? Like recognizing intervals, recognizing cadences and chords and stuff like that, rather than just picking out notes, like relying on not absolute pitch, but like my pitch memory. But yeah, that's. I feel like before I say anything too inflammatory and be like, yo, you know, trying to put more work into it, so higher quality content. Yeah. So yeah, if you give things more time, it's just inevitable. Unless you practice poorly, right? Unless you practice poorly, it'll get better. The interpretation will get better. Man. All right. So there's that question. I don't know if that's a satisfying answer. And of course, the disclaimer is that's just my opinion, right? You can ask someone else what they think. But I have very rarely seen a classical musician, right? This is a biased point of view because it's mostly like high school, at least with the ones that I've interacted with directly, who practiced and learned something in a week and went and competed. Although competitions are very subjective, right? So I'm not going to say that's the end all be all. Competed and did very well at the competition, right? Even if it was technically proficient, because at the lower levels, right? Unless you're like a super pro, technique is not the end all be all. Interpretation matters a lot too, because interpretation for a lot of people is underdeveloped, like me, and so interpretation factors a lot into your score. And so because interpretation is not as high, even if the technique is fine, those people don't typically do as well. They might get in past the preliminaries, but never to the finals. Not that I really got to the finals either. So all's well that ends up well, I suppose. But anyways, a lot of times I used to listen to a song, record the song the same day. Does not apply to classical music, only anime music. Yeah, I suppose, right? But I think the beauty with any music like this too, right? Even if it's like very basic chords, like for example, if I were to improv a little bit, like even that, right? If I took a few days to perfect it, it would sound a lot different, right? I would have better phrasing for, or perhaps I would try a few ideas out and see which one I like more. I would have a better idea of how I want to do this bass. Like maybe I want to emphasize this note a bit more, or maybe I want the crescendo, decrescendo, right? To come in to play or whatever, right? And it would be a different interpretation. Give it another few weeks even, right? It would be quite different. So, or quite a lot more mature. It would be marinated in the brain. So anyways, I beat that question to death. We'll move on. So is Aaron still in the chat? If Aaron's still in the chat, I can talk about I love sorrow. But if not, I can move on to talking about dynamics again or something else. I don't know what the current question is anymore. So I'll wait until I get a response from the chat. Wow, 15 viewers. Thanks guys. Thanks for sticking around, or I guess joining. Yeah. Let me take another sip. All right, you're still here? Okay. So, do I have the sheets somewhere so that I can reference? Practice something. Yeah, multiple interpretations, multiple ideas. I think that's the degree of freedom that I really enjoy about anime music that is, I don't want to say absent from classical, right? But the freedom is different, right? Like with an anime cover, because it's literally written by whoever, right? Perhaps Ant-Man's. Sorry, I'm searching for my sheets and I can't find. Oh, there we go. Perhaps Ant-Man's, perhaps myself, right? There's always there's so much leeway on how to interpret, even if you have the original song to even if you have the original song to reference. Yo, thanks Winter, appreciate it. But with like classical, there's like more set like standards for interpretation. Not that that's not necessarily bad, right? But there's like a certain sound that you also want to be faithful to the composer for, right? Like it's almost, for me, right, at least the way I think about it, is almost like out of respect that I try to first interpret the way that Beethoven might have, or the way that Beethoven heard it, or way that Beethoven wanted it, and then I see how I can work myself into the confines of that, work my own expression, work my own emotionality into that. But it's like deference to, you know, the man as like a freaking master for writing his stuff and like it standing the test of time, right? Essentially. So yeah. Anyways, that's just me though. That's just me though. But talking about Love Sorrow. So I actually spent a lot of time on this opening phrase, so it's not easy. What I first want you to notice, Aaron, is that there's 3 lines that I want to carry, or that I think should be carried, right? You got, right, and there's the accents, right, and staccatos to help provide more articulation. And then you have, so the way that I do the crescendo here is that first, this is in conjunction with a slight accelerando, right? As you can hear, and I still can't do it perfectly because I haven't practiced it in like, you know, a week. Kosei's piano competition, dude. Yeah. Oh my gosh. If you go to like, I've talked about this before. I love Your Lie in April because watching Your Lie in April and the competitions took me all the way back to my competitions. Like, that's exactly how I felt. That's exactly how I heard other people playing. That's exactly, like, everything, right, is like, dang. I have the sheets for this song right next to me. Dang, yo, pull it up, dude. No, but anyways. So, first thing that I noticed is that, yes, I want to crescendo and I want to decrescendo, but the top voice has articulation, so it's going to stand out no matter what. How do I want, the question then becomes, how do I want the second voice to, so the alto, or I guess tenor in this instance, given the range, stand above the other one, yet the bass, and yet still have distinction. And it's exactly the way that it's written, right? This staccatos, eighth notes, right? This here, quarters. So I want to draw out the quarters so that they connect together, because I've said this a lot of times, right, already. Long notes sound louder. Notes that are held sound louder than notes that are played short. And so if you simply holding the note longer than comparison to the eighth notes above it, it'll sound like it's distinct and it's sticking out, right? So that's the second layer that I'm going for. The bass is easy, right, because it's a different hand. But the second layer, right, with the thumb, I'm going for perhaps a draggy feeling, right? And because of that, I lean into the keys a little bit more in order to get the crescendo. And as I'm leaning into the keys, my hand sort of like rotates slightly this way so that I'm putting more and more emphasis into the thumb. I don't know if you can see that. Right, yeah, there we go. So I'm exaggerating, right, so that it stands out. So yeah, that's essentially how I do that crescendo. The slight wrist rotation, right? Just keeping in mind I want to keep the left hand low, but with the crescendo. And then as I push a little bit, I rotate and insert weight a little bit more and more towards the thumb. Not that I'm overtly dumping weight into the thumb, but I'm expecting that my fingers coming down like this, rotating down onto the accents, provide enough articulation that it stands out. And the rotation into the thumb just helps me stick the finger there longer rather than making it actually louder. Or that's the idea, right? Does that kind of make sense? For lack of a better term, this is something I labbed like for a few days. many minutes spent on this opening measure. And this is the funny thing about playing piano like this, right? Is that like inevitably when I record this or when I perform this live at some point, I'm going to be so nervous that I can't do it. And I'll be like, man, all those minutes, hours gone to waste. But that's okay. That's okay. It's the details that matter. And even just thinking about it helps it come out. But does that answer your question? Does that help? I hope. Yeah. Just give it a shot. But anyways. What else was there? I'll stick on for like 10 more minutes before I feel too tired and need a drink and work on something else. Oh, dynamics. Yeah, just mark it out, double flat, mark it out, figure out what the contours are throughout the whole piece. And as you play, listen, right? Listen very intently to what you're doing and try different things to see if it changes the way that it sounds. I think that's the best advice that I could give. Because again, like, you have to develop the toolbox, right? There's no way around like putting in the work to develop the toolbox of touches, toolbox of hand positionings, the toolbox of ways to manipulate your wrist, ways to manipulate your body weight, to achieve certain sounds. What's my favorite piece? Chopin Ballade in G minor. It's been my favorite piece since I was in 8th grade. But yeah, so really work that. Listen very intently. True. Yeah, tell him using. But yeah, listen, try things out, right? Maybe this action is done with more rotation. Maybe this action is done with more body weight. Maybe this action is more finger initiated from the finger. See if that solves the problem or gets close to what you hear in your head or what you want. Hello, Jackson. And if it doesn't, try something else. Maybe you need more arm. Maybe you need more body. Maybe you need more wrist, whatever. And just keep trying until you get the sound that you're looking for, or as close as possible, or maybe reinterpret and see, right? But that's really the only advice that I think I can give at the moment, unless I think of something else later. So yeah. Or and also without like more specific examples, right? Like right now for Love Sorrow, I was able to demonstrate because I have it right here. Anyways. Oh, man. Yo, y'all are ballers. Wow, 16 people. Dang. Who would have thought the after party would be this much fun as well, right? Yeah, no problem. It's, see, the role of a teacher, right? The role of a teacher and stuff like that is almost to like shortcut that learning process, because the teacher, well, assuming that you trust your teacher in the way that the teacher teaches or hears things, like the teacher has a general idea of what you're looking for, right? And if the teacher has good chops, right, the teacher can give you some direction on how to, like, where to go and apply that stuff. I'm a fun dude. I hope I'm a fun dude. I know I talk a lot. That's about it. But for example, right, like when I was growing up, when I was like learning from my teacher Ursula Ingolfsson, right? She, well, like old school, like used to tour in Europe, like in Switzerland, Germany, and stuff like that. Or was it Sweden? I forget. I think it was Switzerland. You know, recorded Goldberg variations several times, like once or twice at least. Played with orchestra, stuff like that. Not too well known, right? But you know, she knew, right? Like every time, like it would be like, and I'm sure those of you have taken private lessons with good teachers, or you like know, right? Like you play something, and she's like, "Wow, it sounded like you didn't practice." And it's like, wait, how are you able to tell that, dude? You're auditioning to Boston Conservatory? Dang, dude, good luck. That's intense. What are you playing? But yeah, the teacher gives you direction. The teacher helps train your ear even, right? But when you're doing it alone, the best advice, right, again, is have an idea of what you want. Go and listen to a whole bunch of like recordings or whatever, or like it doesn't even have to be of the piece that you're playing, especially if you're like, you know, doing just like anime and you're writing your own arrangements, right? But listen to a whole bunch of stuff within that like sort of genre and sort of vibe. But and then see what people are doing or hear what people are doing. And once you hear what people are doing, formulate the idea for yourself and then go and see if you can do it. And that's the sort of trial and error process. And then make a video and then show up on my stream and I will tell you what more to do. What more you can work on, or send me, or you know, buy me coffee, and you can get a video critique or a document critique. But I'm just plugging my stuff shamelessly now at that point. So yeah. Hopefully that's helpful. That's exactly what I have to do now too, right? Because I don't have a set teacher. Yeah, Suzanne teaches me, but it's like once I learn all the notes, I have my interpretation down essentially, and I'm like 2 weeks away from recording. 1 or 2 weeks away from recording, I'll hit her up and be like, "Yo, Suzanne, do you have some time to listen to what I'm playing?" And I'll just play through a bunch of stuff. We'll work through it, right? She'll ask me questions while I'm doing things here or there, and I will respond, and we will try things out, right? But it's very, very much so at this point. She has like different ideas than I do, right? And I would say better a lot of the times. But it's really like, because I have that toolbox, I keep coming back to this. Because I have the toolbox, I can always combine more, like create more combinations of things to try to achieve the sound that I'm looking for. So she doesn't need to tell me how do I sing this more? How do I make this louder? How do I do that, this and that, right? I try that out and we work it out that way. So yeah, we were starting off, you got to build the toolbox. You got to build the toolbox, and it's just practice. All right. Mozart K545. Dang, let's go. Mozart K545. Bach Prelude and Fugue in F major. Well-Tempered Clavier 1. Have I played that one before? I forget what it sounds like. Chopin Etude, Opus 25, number 2. I forget which one that was. Litz, this one I haven't heard. And Prokofiev Prelude, Opus 12, number 7. Prokofiev is like one of like the hardest to understand composers for me. I just don't understand Russian music. I played a Prokofiev sonata in A minor at my second and third recitals because those were the same program. They were a week apart. And it was just like, man, I had to try so hard to memorize that, dude. Like, I had no idea what was going on. Question. Curious as to how long the editions are. How did my editions go? So, first off, bear in mind, I'm not in conservatory, right? I go to normal college. I guess as normal college as you can get. But yeah, so I'm not in conservatory, so perhaps the editions are different for conservatory. I've only competed before, right? I've competed at local competitions. I did 1 or 2 international. Okay, this is all completely new. So depending on the competition, right? I'm guessing that since you applied and you have a set program, that this is the general format is going to be, you're going to get there, right, at your time. So this is what you want to do. I don't know how far you have to travel or whatever, but you want to get there at least I would say 2 hours before. That was a very rare occurrence for me. Sometimes I showed up like 10 minutes before, like when I did Rosalind Turek Bach competition in New York, showed up like literally like 5 minutes before I was supposed to play. So the prelude was not that good. Auditioning to uni also in a few months. Yeah. So this is how it's going to be, right, for most of those. You're going to show up, right? Show up early so that you have time to warm up. That's probably the most important thing, right? If you want to play well, you need time to sit down at a piano and get used to it. Or not get used to it, but get your fingers moving. If your fingers haven't moved for a long time, you're not going to play well, right? So some of these things, like I know, what was it? I think this was something else. One of the Chopin competitions that I competed at. You showed up and you had to rent out a room, right? Or like book a room or whatever. So see what the policy is for practice rooms, like now, right? Get this figured out. When can you show up and use a practice room? Where can you use a practice room? How far it's going to be from the location of auditioning? And and show up and warm up, okay? Warm up with scales. And my advice there, right, is do all your practicing of your pieces before. And if you have time when you get up in the morning or whatever, run through them like once or twice slowly. And then, can I talk about the Taubman approach? The Taubman approach? Sure, I can talk about that like later after I'm done this discussion. Or maybe I'll save that for next week since I still have much to learn about it. This is relatively new to me as well. But what was I saying? Show up, right? Warm up your scale. So before you show up, sorry, I'm backtracking and I'm repeating myself a lot. Before you show up at home, play through slowly once or twice, right? Ideally, this might be controversial, but this is how I always did it. Ideally, the few days before, the pieces are so sunk in and so natural to you that you don't really need to work through much, right? You don't need to interpret much, or there's not much of that work left. And what you want to do for the few days before is play each piece disgustingly slowly, right? You're playing through twice, right? Playing through twice and doing some spot work. Spot work on the tough spots. Oh, you're auditioning from home. Oh, so that's even better. So what you want to do, a few days before. It should be comfortable enough where you don't need to keep working, right? And so play through once disgustingly slowly, preferably with a metronome. What do I mean by disgustingly slowly? It's so slow that it's really boring, and you actually need to think about what each note is before you play it, right? And so this will help with you preventing yourself from psyching yourself out while you're playing and freezing up and having a brain fart and being like, dude, what's the next note? Because you've done it, right? You were playing so slowly that you actually had to think about each and every note, and it will help your confidence that way. Second, then play through either a medium tempo or at your fast performance tempo, right? And you want to, like, medium tempo is a tempo that you can play at like a decent pace, right? And you feel like you can do, like, perform with full musicality. And obviously, performance tempo, fast tempo is what the fast tempo is, right? And that's just to make sure that you still have the feeling in your fingers, right? You can't just jump from playing slow to fast, even though we do have the saying, if you can play slowly, you can play quickly. Somewhat true, right? And then you want to do some spot works on the technically difficult parts and the parts where it's hard for phrasing and, like, you know, stuff like that, dynamics. Day of the edition, right? Once or twice slow. You can do that, right? The day of. Once slow, disgustingly slow, then once fast, and that's it, right? You don't overwork your piece, because if you overwork it, you're gonna psych yourself out, right? Try to put yourself into state of tension, right? Like, if you want to try recording yourself like a week out, right? That always adds, like, adrenaline, and you see where you mess up, and you know those are spots that you gotta work more, right? So do that, and then practice your warm up, right? Like half an hour before, and then you go in audition, you play your stuff. What will likely happen is, okay, so wow, I've been talking for a while about, like, competing. Dude, it's been a hot sec. I don't miss it. I don't miss it though. I'd rather play recital, like a whole recital, than compete even with one piece, because it's just like, bro, I'm being judged. You know, I can't just say my stuff. Like, I want to just talk to people, you know, when I'm playing. Anyways, what was I gonna say? Yeah. So when you're auditioning, what will likely happen? You'll come in, or I guess if this is a call or if this is a video recording, I'm going to assume that there's some slow forte practice. You don't even necessarily need to play forte. It just has to be slow. It just has to be really slow. But yeah, what was I going to say? Yeah, so you show up, right? You'll play your first piece, or you might even have to wait a few minutes, right? As the judges get ready, play your first piece, and then there'll be a break, right? You give the judges a few minutes. During those few minutes, just wipe whatever you did from your mind. If you got psyched out somewhere, if you got confused somewhere, whatever, or you're playing on a Yamaha P125. Okay, I have a Yamaha P125 too. Make sure you're bottoming out the keys when you're practicing, right? So don't psych yourself out, right? First and foremost, most important thing, especially in between pieces. And once you're done, that's it, right? You're going with the mentality, like, I'm trying to say something, right, for these judges, right? That's all. That's how I always came in, right? I'm trying to tell a story. That was always it, right? I've developed this mindset in 8th grade, and it's carried me through to now. I'm telling a story. If you think I want to win, you will play technically, and you will likely not win. And you will psych yourself out incredibly when you mess up even once. So always have that in mind. Yeah, just in between pieces, like, work yourself up for the next one. The judges will indicate when they're ready, right? And then you will start your next piece, and then you go from there. So anyways, hopefully that long-winded response was somewhat helpful. I don't know if it will be, but good. Best of luck to you, dude. Getting into conservatory is not easy. I am not in conservatory, so I don't know exactly how hard it is. So, but good luck, and hope you do well. Play evenly, play well, play expressively. Better play with conviction than to play by the convention, right? And yeah. Next week. Oh, and of course, next week I will be back. Sia Jackson, thanks for sticking around and listening to me talk technically about piano. But yeah, if you put it on YouTube, Yusin, and you stop by my stream next week, I can listen to whatever you're playing, and I can give feedback as well. So there's that. Anyways, what was something else? Was I asked to talk about Taubman? I feel like I was. Can I talk about Taubman? Yeah. Okay, I can talk about Taubman. One sec. Gotta take a sip. Talking too much. This will be the last thing. All right, so I'm still a little bit conflicted on how I feel about Taubman. I'm not. I'll see if I can record my live edition from camera. Yeah, best of luck, dude. I'm not conflicted in terms of like whether or not it's efficacious and good for like your hands or whatever. I'm conflicted because I don't exactly know how the expressions and stuff like that would come out. But based on what so many people have said, right? Like it looks like everyone. Well, this is a very biased sample group, right? Like people who comment on Taubman videos or like Golansky Institute videos are all people who had success with Taubman, right? Because the people who haven't have just gone back to their old ways of playing and do things that way, and it's more than likely fine for them unless they have an injury. So perhaps this is a biased, very like it's almost like survivorship bias, right? With like anyways. So be that as it may, it seems like Taubman is really really good for the hands, right? It seems like Taubman really really helps out with a lot of interesting things, especially technically. And I think perhaps Fruit has within our community has put in the most work to Taubman, right? Since he's the one who introduced it to me, and it seems like he does it the best, even though he hasn't been formally trained in it. So it looks like there is a technical benefit to it as well, at least to me. In some instances, I don't know if it's perhaps applicable to all my playing, right? Because again, talking about the toolbox, it seems like to assimilate Taubman, I would have to start over on a lot of fronts, which is not a fun prospect. But it's something that I'd be willing to do if it ensured one, I knew I could get better sound if I did it, right? Which I'm very iffy about right now. And two, if it would ensure the longevity of my hands as well, right? With the idea of like perhaps it's not about building finger strength, perhaps it's not about, it's more about the rotation and initiating rotation from the arm and then through the wrist, and that's how you play everything. But I just simply can't get it past my head thinking that the two approaches, right, to playing a note is you're coming down from above like this, and the other one is via rotation, like that, like practicing scale, like things like that. And like, yeah, it just, to me, the way that I've been taught and the way that I've always played, every time I've done something like that, it sounds harsh, right? And I just don't like the way that it's articulated. And so it's hard for me to imagine that if I were to pick up Taubman, it would go over too well at the moment, right? It would require a lot of rewiring of the brain and a lot of rewiring how I hear things perhaps for a little bit, and I would have to stick through me sounding like proverbial trash to myself at least for a while before I got comfortable with it. But what I will say about Taubman, right, is that I have been a lot more. Oh, you were driving? Shoot, that was like half my discussion. No, but what I will say about Taubman is that I have become a lot more aware of how my wrists are moving, and I have become a lot more aware of like when I'm doing jumps or technical things, how much I'm incorporating my arm and my wrist into that movement. So, for example, when I played Ocean Etude, Ocean Etude's not an example for this per se, but like Ocean Etude, you cannot do without any wrist movement. Your arms have to move, your body has to move as a unit. If you observed when I was playing, and like even with the rotation to get the fingers up the keyboard, like everything has to work together to do that in order to get through to the end of the piece. If you just played with finger, you would not be able to do dynamics. You would not be able to play at that tempo and like make it through half the piece IMO. So, yeah, you start your scales in incorrect finger. Yeah. So that's why that's what I gotta say, right? Like I've been more aware of when I'm adding wrist and perhaps a little bit more proactive for doing that as well, just to see what it sounds like. And it feels relatively comfortable. Like some of the jumps I tried, like for example, in what I tried to a little bit of a rotation up, right? But yeah, I mean, you watch animes play, and I'm sure, right? Someone who's like a pro at Taubman. I'm not saying anything definitively, right? Because I simply don't know enough. The Taubman people, the Golansky Institute, would say everyone should play Taubman because Taubman is the way that you are physiologically wired to play. And I don't know, right? If that's true. That's the research off of one person, right? Taubman. And then like what a whole institute built on her teaching. Dorothy Taubman was a piano teacher in the 70s, I believe, or she gained prominence in the 70s with a new style of playing, or not new style of playing, but a new methodology that focused more on wrist rotation as opposed to individual finger strength. So traditional teaching, right, is very emphasis on building strength in your fingers, right, and like even holding down all the keys and like playing like this to develop finger strength. And that's the way I was taught, right? Not that I necessarily ever did that exercise explicitly, but a lot of motion is initiated from the finger. But Taubman is like, no, we should initiate movement throughout the entire arm every single time. So how you would do a Taubman scale is, or do that exercise is, you would rotate up, right? Or first you would do the dropping, right? If I remember correctly, right? Like dropping like this because you're using the whole arm, right? And you're using gravity to help press the key down, put the key down. Second, when you're going up and down, you would practice this rotation. It seems like all movements in the Taubman methodology are a combination of this dropping and a combination of this rotation, right? To be able to go up and down the keyboard, to be able to play multiple notes at once, right? And stuff like that. And it makes sense. It makes a lot of sense. But to play a fast scale with this sort of rotation, right? One, I would need a teacher to learn how to do that because I simply don't know how. But second, it's like, I don't know. I feel like I've been doing this for so long that it's like, it feels like it's nothing for me, right? And I think a lot of pianists would say that too. But then, and this is, a classical, traditional way of playing. But then perhaps like people who have this used kind of automatically on the second page of this game, like that's exactly what I'm saying, Winter. It's like these sorts of movements are kind of hard to not do with certain technical things, right? Like even like you have to rotate your wrist, right? Or before that, was it? I can't get in there. So the arpeggio, right? Yeah. So like with this, right? So this in Taubman, right? And the way that I play it now, right, requires me to bounce up and down, right? So I'm initiating from my arm to do it. And this is again landing with that, right? But I don't. It seems kind of interesting how I would rotate the wrist to be able to get these notes. Right. So I don't know. Yeah, I am. I'm actually talking to my music theory professor about Taubman for a few minutes on Monday or Tuesday, sorry, and we'll see what comes of that conversation. I think she is a classically trained pianist, but she said, I emailed her and I was like, "Yo, do you or your colleagues know anything about Taubman? Because I'd be really interested to learn a little bit more." Right, to see if it's like something efficacious for me, and something that I really want to put time and effort into to like actually train, or just is something that I can implement, right, for the time being. And she's like, yeah, I'm no Taubman expert, but I have some experience with Taubman, and we can talk, and maybe I can put you in contact with someone, right? And her experience is that her daughter was taught by a Taubman pianist, so Taubman teacher. So we will see. The goal is to practice motion scales and stuff. Yeah, I don't know, because I watched some of Robert Durso's videos, right? And Robert Durso is like, well, obviously the chords, I think the chords are, yes, there's like rotation to get around to it, but it's like from up and down, right? That up and down motion, like again, like putting the key down with the whole arm. But Robert Durso, 4 stages, right? There's like the, learning to do this and then the scales and stuff like that. And then beyond that, like multiple hands and moving up and down the keyboard. And then the final stage, right, is to what you call shaping, right? You put everything together and you minimize the motion effectively, efficiently, so that you watch Robert Durso play the scale in the video, right? He doesn't look like he's rotating it. It's because he's done the shaping. So, anyways, that's a long ramble on Taubman. I think so TLDR. as you develop technically, you will inevitably need to use your wrist, your arm, your body. So there's no getting away from that. And I think that if you don't, you will be unable to do a lot of things, and you will hurt yourself trying to do a lot of things. Whether or not that every single motion needs to be initiated in such a way, or so overtly in such a way, I'm unsure. Right, I'm very unsure. I will say that I've always, like, how do I say? I notice for myself, right, as I'm observing myself play, my hand moves as a unit, right? So I think I've got that pretty down. Like I never just like one finger up, right? Even when I'm like, I talk about sparkle and like all the, like, the fingers providing a lot of the impetus and like the initiation of the movement from the fingers. But if you observe my hand all rotates together, right? I don't know if that's necessarily that's not Taubman, right? But it goes to show that the hand has to move together, right? The hand has to operate as a unit to some extent. But beyond that, to as explicitly as Taubman, I have no idea. And maybe I'm just doing things more right, as Robert Durso would say. Some people play more correctly than others, and maybe that's why I've gotten so up there. But I mean, you watch animes play, you don't see any of that rotational stuff. I don't think. Perhaps he's doing it very, very subtly. But it looks like he overtly lifts like fingers very high sometimes, right? And he sometimes even comes down flat a little bit, and is interesting. But yeah. It's been a phenomenal stream so far. Thank you. I hope so. I've literally played for almost like 45 minutes, and then now I've been talking about random stuff for much longer. Dude, double flat, dude, level with me here. Is this literally like your hour-long private lesson like every week? No, I'm kidding. Dang. All right. But anyways, I think that's about all I got in the tank for today, because I was practicing a lot before this, and I've done like nothing other than wake up and practice. So again, thank you guys for coming. Thank you especially for sticking through to the end of the stream. Well, 15 people. I have one question. What benefits do you think a major composition versus performance would benefit for technique and arranging? Wait, what do you mean? Hold on. Let me answer Fruit's question, because this is interesting. Fruit never asks questions. Think a major in composition. Sorry, I thought you said a major competition. You got church in the morning? I got church in the morning too. So, yo, go to bed, dude. I'll see you next week. Thanks, Yusin. Thanks, Elijah Rain, as well. Let me answer Fruit real quick. Okay, again, take this with a grain of salt. I'm not a composition major. I'm not a performance major either. I haven't taken a formal piano class in 3 years. So I don't think I'm necessarily qualified to answer this necessarily. But major in composition versus performance, benefit for technique. Well, I mean, I think any music major that you get, right? And perhaps I don't know which school you're going to, or if you're going to conservatory or whatnot, or you're trying to get there. But for example, I'll use Suzanne as an example, because I talked to her a little bit about this performance major. Okay, interesting. So Suzanne and I again go to the same school. It's at least the school that we're in of this institution. So we go to UPenn, right? And we're both in the College of Arts and Sciences, so we are both liberal arts majors, essentially. For her, I think I don't know what specific concentration she's doing, but she does a lot of music theory, right, solfege and stuff like that, which is very standard for any music major, right, even performance ones. And she has to do a lot of credits with, like, I think she has to play in an orchestra. So Suzanne is a primarily violin player, but she has quite a lot of experience in piano as well. So she has to perform, right, in the orchestra. She has to do like all these things, and those get her credits towards a performance requirement. And then she also has to, do classes and stuff like that. So that's probably what it's going to look like if you're going to a non-conservatory place and applying for a music major. But you're going to conservatory, honestly can't tell you. You would probably spend hours, if you're a performance major, yeah, your technique, they would spend a lot of time doing technique. Oh, so I can answer this, right? When you go to conservatory, you will study specifically under the mentorship of probably one person if you're doing performance. And I know this because, I mean, several of my piano teachers, students in the past have gone to Juilliard and stuff like that. By the time she was teaching me, she was too old to have students like, no, I'm kidding. She's still a phenomenal teacher, IMO. She just didn't have like that many students coming through at that caliber, which is unfortunate. It's unfortunate when I am one of the top students. But yeah, so basically you go study under the College of Arts and Crafts. Exactly. All my pen people showing up now to let me know how trash I am. But you'll study under the mentorship of one person. I don't know for how long, but that person will provide most of the input. It's like basically private lessons, except more intense, right? And then you have hours and hours to practice alone. And you also have to keep up your music theory homework, although that will be less intensive than if you did a composition major, from what I understand. So if your goal is to compose, to arrange, to do stuff like that, then yeah, go for the composition major. I don't know how much playing you'll do, right? Quite honestly, because I don't know anyone who's a composition major, but I can imagine that you're doing significantly less because the focus is going to be on music theory. The focus is going to be on, like stuff that like analyzing music and stuff like that. So you should get, if you're going to do that, get a head start. Start learning figured bass. Start learning some ear training, right? Recognize intervals, recognize cadences, recognize major, minor. Start working on like chromatic stuff and like atonal stuff, and like learning how developing an ear for that as well, and being able to tell things. Develop your relative pitch, basically. If you want to go composition, you're going to go performance. Get good at playing and get good at performing. So yeah, that's all I've got to say. My very uneducated opinion, because I am not any of those majors, but hopefully that's helpful. I don't see another comment, so I'm gonna assume that it wasn't. No. Just get good, and end of the conversation. Just get good. So yeah, no problem, dude. No problem, dude. You're like way ahead of where I was, I think, in even high school, because I mean, I wasn't playing Animens Unravel after a few hours of practice, No, I'm kidding. But I don't even know what the audition process is for a composition major, like if you have to play or not. But yeah, you can if you want, right? I know you're a senior, but I don't know. And applications are probably done or so, or you're around senior year. If you've already applied, maybe this doesn't apply to you. But there are composition competitions that you can take part in. I know one of my teacher students got really good at composition. He won some prizes, and so that might help, right? But I mean, it's all building a portfolio and stuff like that. So anyways, I've said thanks multiple times already and pretended to stop the stream and then not stop the stream. This time is for real. So thank you everyone for coming again. I'm saying this for a third time now. Thank you to those who bought merch, who supported me. I really appreciate that. And yeah, thanks for giving me an audience, right? Thanks for listening to what I have to say, because not many people get that. Not many people get the opportunity to speak and have someone listen. And I'm reminded of that constantly, because I take music as one of my voices. So anyways, yeah, have a good night, everyone. And I'll see you next week. Next week, live stream. Exactly. Oh, and look out for the video I'm putting out this week talking about Animens. So, peace.